Now, the building industry is one of Australia's biggest employers. It employs around 1 in 10 of every Australian workers, but it's also been a battleground between unions and employers for decades. Now, you would know that the Australian Building and Construction Commission is the referee in this industry that was created by coalition governments. It had been previously scrapped by Labor governments. It's also been active in being really coming up against vigorously the most strong of these unions, the building industry unions, the CFM-MEU. But given the fact that it's Labor and ACTU policy to scrap the Australian Building and Construction Commission, you can understand why the election of an Albanese government might have the building industry concerned. Let's go to the Chief Executive of the Master Builders in Australia, Denita Wawn, who joins me now. Denita, many thanks for your time. Can you first off just explain the election of a Labor government? Does it bring qualms to the building industry?
There's a great deal of positives, Ross, particularly with their housing policy, but obviously there are some reservations, no least the policy to remove the ABCC and a few other industrial relations policies as well. So we welcome the new Albanese government, but certainly keen to work with them to ensure that any IR policies will not upset our capacity to have economic activity returned back into this country.
OK, but you're a realist. Do you think it is inevitable that the ABCC will be scrapped? And do you believe that this inevitably will lead to more action from unions such as the CFM-MEU?
That's right, Ross. Certainly it's ALP policy to abolish the ABCC, an entity that was established after not one but 4 royal commissions that says that we, unfortunately, as an industry, need a watchdog to ensure that we all behave by the rules. So we believe that it will escalate existing problems, as we know it will, due to the removal of it previously. We've had independent modelling undertaken by EY that have said the increase could be, in terms of the loss to the economy, anywhere between $50 to $80 billion over the next 8 years. So we would strongly suggest to the ALP that if they should not remove the ABCC, but if they have concerns about it, then let's talk it through and look at ways in which we can still keep the watchdog that we know we desperately need. OK, so you would have had dialogue with the Labor Party in the lead up to the election, no? What was the attitude of the Labor Party as you were having those conversations? The Labor Party stated that the ABCC would be removed. It was part of their policy and they would undertake to remove it. So obviously we have campaigned against that policy, knowing that it would have a significant impact on this country's economic activity and getting out of COVID. For every dollar spent in public infrastructure, which is what is overseen by the ABCC, $4 is returned back into the community. So we know how critically important building and construction is, and critically important that we're not losing productivity, which we know we will do if we don't have a watchdog on the beat.
OK, so then the building industry itself right now is not in what I'd call robust shape, given the fact that you've had the collapse of ProBuild and Condev, and then even in the past couple of weeks, under unfortunate circumstances, even there's been talk about Metricon, though the company has come out with statements saying that it remains strong. So, you know, this comes against that type of a backdrop where there are structural issues that are affecting the viability of Australia's construction industry.
That's absolutely right, Ross. There is a real cost and cash flow crunch throughout the industry. We have been saying that now for months, and that we need to try and resolve those problems. They are a culmination of the delays through lockdowns, the delays in getting access to products, the delays in access to labour, and likewise the costs associated with all of those delays. And that is really hurting and biting the industry, that at a time where it has really gone through a boom because of people staying in their homes, wanting new environments to live in, and equally governments putting money into the industry to ensure we kept people in jobs and we kept the economy going. So we know we need some support. We know we need to review how we work. But also history would tell us that we need the construction watchdog. 4 royal commissions have said over the decades that the industry needs that support through a regulator that has got specific rules attached to it to ensure that we play by the rules.
And just a quick one, you've also got, just very quickly, interest rate rises that are potentially coming as well.
That's right, Ross, and so certainly we are keeping a close eye on the industry. It's very important that we support the industry where we can throughout the country, but equally we're asking all governments to support us as well. And certainly that's one of the things that we've been really particularly welcoming of for the ALP, and that is their housing supply roundtable, because many of the problems being impacted by the residential sector at the moment, but also in high-rise residential, is in relation to lack of supply that is predominantly state and council problems. But the Labor Party have said they're going to take a leadership role in that area.
Denita Wawn from the Master Builders Association, always good to have in the program, and many thanks for your time today.